First, I want to be upfront with you. I am using an AI voice for this recording. My own voice and appearance just does not come across as clearly as I would like for these videos, so please bear with me. The Ancestral Justice series. Do not miss out on the information provided. We begin this moment not with accusation, superstition, or mythology, but with truth. This is the start of a year-long series dedicated to ancestral justice, a form of justice that moves through time, through bloodlines, systems, and memory. This series is not about assigning blame to the past. It is about explaining why the past continues to shape our present, and why unresolved truth never stays buried forever. Ancestral justice is not a belief system. It functions whether we acknowledge it or not, at the intersection of cause and effect, accountability, and inheritance. What one generation refuses to confront does not just disappear, it transfers to the next. This is not punishment, it is balance seeking restoration. It explains why certain patterns repeat across families, communities, and even nations, long after the original events have passed. Many of us sense this reality before we can name it. We notice recurring struggles, unexplained resistance, or cycles of loss that seem disconnected from our present choices. We often dismiss these patterns as coincidence, bad luck, or fate. But this series will challenge those ideas, replacing them with something far more grounded: accountability across time. Ancestral justice does not accuse descendants of crimes they did not commit. Instead, it reveals how unresolved actions create unfinished processes. When an injustice is concealed, denied, or normalized, it remains active. Silence does not neutralize wrongdoing, it preserves it. Over time, that preserved imbalance seeks resolution, and when those originally responsible are gone, the burden often manifests through the systems and descendants connected to the original act. Throughout this year, we will explore how ancestral justice operates quietly but consistently. It does not rush. It allows time for correction and gives opportunities for truth to surface voluntarily before it is exposed forcefully. Many people mistake this delay for approval, assuming that because consequences have not appeared, they never will. Ancestral justice teaches the opposite. Time is given so that truth can be acknowledged without destruction. When that opportunity is ignored, exposure becomes unavoidable. This series will also address one of the most uncomfortable truths we face. Benefits gained through injustice are never neutral. When people inherit land, wealth, or status built on concealed wrongdoing, that benefit carries an unresolved weight. Enjoying the outcome does not erase the origin. Ancestral justice does not demand self-hatred or rejecting what you have inherited. It demands awareness and correction. What is acknowledged can be restored. What is denied remains active. This brings us to a crucial distinction: the difference between guilt and responsibility. Descendants are not guilty of ancestral actions, but they do become responsible once the truth is made visible. Responsibility begins with awareness. Once you know, neutrality ends. This is not a moral judgment, it is a structural reality. Systems only change when those within them refuse to continue the imbalance. Over the coming months, we will explore ancestral justice in our personal family lines, our cultural histories, our institutions, and our national origins. We will examine how land dispossession, forced labor, and silenced crimes create long-term instability. But we will also explore how healing begins, not with denial or symbolic gestures, but through truth, accountability, and genuine restoration. Now, it is important to be clear, this is not about blame-driven narratives. Ancestral justice is not vengeance dressed up in spirituality. It does not seek to shame descendants for the past. It seeks alignment in the present. Where truth is acknowledged, justice brings stability. Where truth is resisted, instability grows. This is why societies that suppress their history often experience recurring unrest. The past does not demand to be remembered for sentimental reasons. It demands recognition for resolution. A major theme this year will be exposure. Exposure is not cruelty, it is correction. Ancestral justice does not expose to humiliate, but to restore balance. When truth surfaces, it can feel disruptive, because a false stability is being dismantled. But disruption is not destruction. Systems built on truth may shake, but they will endure. Systems built on concealment will eventually collapse, no matter how successful they appear. We will also address forgiveness, one of the most misunderstood concepts in this conversation. Forgiveness without truth does not heal, it just suppresses. Forgiveness without accountability does not resolve, it just delays. Ancestral justice does not reject forgiveness, but it places it after exposure, not before. True forgiveness can only release the burden after responsibility has been acknowledged. Anything else simply transfers the weight forward. Another critical focus will be on documentation. Records shape our reality. When documents are falsified, destroyed, or selectively preserved, injustice is formalized, but false records do not age into truth. They remain active distortions that influence decisions, ownership, and identity. Over time, these distortions demand correction, often through legal challenges or social upheaval. We will examine how truth suppressed in archives eventually re-emerges through testimony, patterns, and resistance. And what about silence? Silence is not absence, it is action through inaction. When injustice is witnessed and ignored, it gains protection. When systems reward silence, they accumulate imbalance. Over generations, this protected injustice becomes so embedded that it starts to look normal. This series will confront the role of bystanders and institutions that maintain silence, not to condemn but to clarify our responsibility now that we are aware. If these ideas feel overwhelming, let me offer some reassurance. Ancestral justice is not activated by fear, it is activated by truth. Awareness empowers choice, choice allows for correction, and correction restores balance. This process does not require perfection from us, it just requires honesty. And if these ideas feel threatening, remember that discomfort is often a signal, not an accusation. Resistance can indicate a proximity to unresolved truth. This series is not here to force agreement, it is here to present a framework, allowing each of us to reflect rather than react. Throughout this year, each discussion will build upon the last. We will move deliberately, because this work cannot be rushed. It unfolds in layers, personal, familial, institutional, and national. Skipping steps only creates fragile outcomes. It is depth that creates stability. This series is also an invitation to humility. No family, culture, or nation is exempt. Ancestral justice does not single out groups. It examines actions and systems. Every single lineage contains both wisdom and wrongdoing. Facing both is the path to maturity. And let me state this clearly, ignoring ancestral justice does not prevent its operation. Denial does not deactivate consequence. What is avoided simply returns through repetition. It is only what is faced that can be resolved. As we begin, our purpose is not to reopen old wounds, but to understand why some wounds never healed in the first place. Healing requires exposure to air, concealment creates infection, and truth cleanses, not because it is gentle, but because it is accurate. Over the coming months, every aspect of this will be on the table. Inherited patterns, institutional memory, historical suppression, accountability, restoration, forgiveness, and finally, peace. Nothing essential will be avoided, nothing will be exaggerated, nothing will be hidden. This is not a series about the past alone, it is about the present and the future. What we choose to acknowledge now determines what we pass forward. Ancestral justice is not about being trapped by history, it is about being freed from repeating it. This is the beginning of a year-long examination of truth across generations. And justice, patient as it is precise, has been waiting. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Please like and share, subscribe to the channel. You will find a link that would provide you with critical information that will help you with this issue and any other problem that you encounter during your life.